All right. So welcome everyone. This is our Thursday morning production training. My name is Joe Martinez. And this is our production call for folks that are already licensed, ready to go and help a family. Make sure everybody's muted. And what we're going to do today, James, go through that thing and mute everyone, please. What we're going to cover today is just some really good examples or tips of how you can explode your production business right in January. A ton of us have a ton of business. I'm gonna give us some tips on what we need to be doing right now, this first week or two of January, to get a bunch of policies that are in your business right now. And then just some really good practices of, again, how to double your business, triple your business, because going into January, right, everyone's New Year resolution is I'm gonna become a top agent. I'm gonna write my 20,000 that I've never written before, 10,000, 15, whatever it is, right? I'm gonna give y'all some really good nuggets of how you go do that, right? Because I know it's on everybody's mind, and this is what I was telling a group earlier, Jordan, was let yourself fall into that typical New Year's person, right? Like for me, I take advantage of falling into it and getting excited, letting yourself get excited about it, right? Like don't be that person that like, oh, I'm not going to be that typical New Year's resolution of I'm going to go. Yes, do it, right? Now, don't be the typical one that quits in 9 days. That's the only difference, right? You got to give this time 6 weeks. In production, takes 6 weeks. If you're very consistent, like I challenge, and I got this from Jordan. Like one time, Jordan, you told me like, I'm going to put Symmetry to the test. And every time I've lost,
Every
right?
time.
I dare y'all, like I literally dare y'all, show me you sit with 12 plus families a week and you don't win here. Like I dare y'all, like I will work one-on-one with any one of y'all sitting with 12 families a week, right? And not winning because you will. There's just no way. There's too many people that want this, right? Like I love who you hired, Jordan, right? Like one of our own leads, right, told us on today's call, this is what I was looking for. Right? And here was the cool part, because this is going to be some of the stuff that I talk about making a big January, right? She was like, I just needed some time before I started the policy. Right. And that's why bonus leads are great, right? Like that's why the whole Symmetry system is fire, right? And you got to just be really good and organized because this is a business. So we're gonna talk about how to explode your business and get a ton of production in January. What I humbly ask is y'all take some really good notes. Now, here's the big thing. Y'all are probably not doing a lot of the practices that we're talking about, me included, because it's not typical stuff that we normally do, but it is very important to do in January, the first of the year, because how many of y'all running appointments since probably like October, you heard, hey, I'm not going to start that policy till next year, right? Or, hey, you know what, give me some time. I'm not ready right now, right? So we're going to take advantage of a lot of that business that you have in your books right now and teach you how to write some of that business. And just take a ton of notes, right? Apply it, starting today, because January, oh my God, it's probably the fastest month that goes by of the year, because everyone has, right, they're trying to spruce up their business and get it going. And I'm telling you, these 4 weeks will disappear in a heartbeat, but we got to take advantage of this momentum, especially because we have conference in February. We want all of y'all to go into February, right, with that cash flow glow, right, talking about y'all, right, broke records of 15,000, 20,000 in production for the month, right, and we're going to teach y'all how to do it. And so anything that you get off this call and you go out and apply it, please, I humbly ask that you post it in band, because other agents can take from it. And we're learning here as a whole group in the Cook hierarchy. This is why I love this organization, so that we can go out there and crush it together. So I'm gonna get started with right. So the topic is how do we get more production, right? And it's very, very simple. This is what I love about it, right? It ain't easy. It's very simple, right? It's massive action, constant correction. Who has heard that? Right? Massive action, constant correction. That's what it takes, right? Now, this is why I love January, right? It's because it's a make a move month. And a lot of us are willing to do things in January for whatever reason that we weren't willing to do in May, November, and December. So I want y'all to take advantage of that, right? Like right now, we're all willing to go get into some pain, right? Of growth, right? Like that's why the biggest New Year resolution is I'm going to start going to the gym, right? And it hurts and you're so uncomfortable, right? It's the same thing. Take advantage of it with your production, right? Just realize you're going to go through some pain, right? But it's growing pain, it's massive action, constant correction. What I love about January is most of y'all are willing to go through it for at least a couple of weeks to see if this is for you. Because guess what? You might also uncover this is not for you, which is perfectly fine, right? But here's the thing. I want y'all to find out in the next 3 weeks, not in the next 3 months. Okay. And so production in January is just, again, I love it because y'all are going to be willing to do some stuff you're not normally willing to do. So let's take advantage of it. And one of the things that is huge, huge. Okay. We did this middle of last year, I think, and I think we had counted, it was up to like 25,000 in production, right? Between a lot of us. But I want y'all to write this down. Right now, in your leads, you have 10 or more applications that you need to go write. Okay. In your leads right now, you have 10 or more applications in your leads. Okay. How do I find those leads, or where are they? What do you mean by that, Joe? Like I've called them all and they're all no's, think about it, blah, blah, blah. Okay. They are your think about it. They are the people that no showed you, right? A month ago, 2 months ago, right? They are the families that told you, hey, call me in January, right? Or they're the families that told you probably in July, right? Like, hey, call me back in a few months because I just got into my home. I don't know what my bills are, right? Whatever. If you talked to them in any which way or form, and you did not get an application, you need to go find those clients that are in your list. I guarantee you, again, these are things that I'll challenge any of y'all, right? You have 10 applications in those clients. Why January is so important to reach out to those? Because they're thinking the same thing we are. I was waiting for the new year so I can get that policy started. Okay. Guess what? They're human, just like us, and we have to allow them that grace. Now it's time for you to go do your job and get these folks. Okay. You got to look through your system, figure out how you have it sorted, right? For me, I write all my clients down on a notepad, but see all these little yellow Post-it notes? Those are people I will be calling this week. Here's the really cool part, and this is where James started laughing when I started showing him these methods, right? Those are the fastest apps you can possibly write. Because when you get a hold of them, like, hey, it's Joe, right? We talked about that mortgage protection, and then you reinforce the new year and the new thought process. Hey, the new year has clicked over. Tons of families are calling me back. I just wanted to make sure I gave you the same opportunity to reach out to you, right? And are you ready to get that policy started? Oh my God, thank God you called, Joe. Yes, I am. Here's the really cool part. Usually whatever you show them, they're going to do way more, right? Like if you showed them a $60 policy a month, right? They're willing to do a $100 one right now. Right? Again, for whatever reason, take advantage of the new year resolution, right? Because they're doing the same thing and they're doing it with all their life, right? They're like, oh, we needed to take that. You're right. Let's go ahead and check that box off, right? Like I'm going to get my stuff in order. It's the brand new year. I want to make sure I've checked these things off my boxes, right? Like take advantage of that, right? So how do we get those applications, right? Is you need to have a list of all the folks that, right? Again, you have communicated with, right? Booked an appointment, sat with, gave you a think about it, gave you call me in January. You need to have that list and you need to start blowing up. This is what you have to do this week. You have to resolve it. Okay. There's no shame in blowing their phone up. You need to blow it up until they answer the phone and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, it's just something we're not going to do. Right? Or, hey, you know what? Yes, let's go ahead and do that. I'm telling you, 10 applications. Who wants 10,000 in APV by next Friday? I challenge y'all. I'm telling you, I challenge y'all. This is the really cool part is you already paid for these leads. Right at this point, it's free leads, right? And they're fastest applications. I'm telling y'all, right? Because they're like, oh yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And it doesn't, you don't got to run an appointment. You don't have to do anything. Be ready to write the application. Whatever you showed them, be like, okay, let's do this. Let's just go over it one more time. And I'm telling y'all, they're usually saying, hey, if you showed them a $46, a $60 policy, they're ready to do a bigger one. It's January. They are ready to start their protection for their family. Right? So make a list of those folks, start calling them. So what I mean by blowing them up, okay? Let me blow y'all's mind, okay? That means calling them twice, at least twice, every single day until next Friday. Every single day. Triple dial them in the morning, triple dial them in the evening. Know when you're calling them, right? Because if you're calling them at the same time at, let's say, 1 p.m. and then the same time at 5 p.m., even though it's morning and afternoon or evening for y'all, that might be their work hours, right? So be willing to stretch yourself, make it an 8 a.m. call, right? Or an 8:30 p.m. call. You got to get a hold. You have to make it a point, right? All these little post-it notes will disappear off of my list by next week. They will be gone. I will get a yes or a no, right? Because they are no, I have, it's a new year for me. My business has to reset when it comes down to leads and production. So we have to resolve everything that we left on the books from last year. Right? Here's the really cool part is if you do this correctly, I'm telling y'all, y'all are writing 15, 20, 30,000 in production because it's a lot of business that's really fast to write. Okay. So how do we resolve them? Again, in the morning and the evening, you're triple dialing them, right? By the third day, because I'm saying do this until next Friday, by the third day that you've done this, so today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or no, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So by Saturday and Monday, start leaving voice messages and texting those folks. And this is only for the folks you have talked to. We need to resolve them. We cannot carry business on from last year and leaving it sitting on our desk from this year or in this year. Okay, that is not good business practices. Right? Here's the cool part again, they're willing to pick up the phone and tell you yes or no. Right? Because same thing for them, they're like, I need to just go ahead and tell this person no. Right? Or, hey, let's go ahead and start that policy. That's what we're looking for. Fall in love with the results, right? Because you have a ton of them. And I'm telling you, you're going to have every 10, you're probably going to have 2 apps that you can write out of every 10 folks. These are numbers that I have done for 6 years. That's why January is usually a really big month for a lot of us producers because we're following up with a lot of these folks. Okay. So making sure you're reaching out to those folks. And this is for folks that have answered, right? That you've sat with, you've talked to them, booked an appointment, sat with them, right? Or they told you, call me in the beginning of the next year, or I'm not ready right now, whatever. Those folks. Okay. There's 10 applications there. Now, what about all your old leads? We talked about this before, right? I was talking with another agent, Sam, I think it was talking to you, right? Where y'all have a ton of leads still right now, right? Again, we cannot go into a new January, right? A new year with these leads just unresolved because we're not willing to dial them. Because y'all, that's what y'all have to understand, right? If you have leads in your system, right? And this is our producer growing, right? Stretching ourselves and being in that uncomfortable spot. We just haven't gotten a hold of them. We haven't called them enough. Okay. January is the month we resolve all of 2023 leads. Okay. What does it take? And this is where I love it, Jordan, right? This is we're going to go to the gym and it's going to hurt for 9 days, right? And either we're going to quit or we're not. You have to be willing until the 15th of this month to dial every single day. Right. And this is where you're the only one that knows if you wake up and go to the gym. You're the only one that knows if you're going to dial. You have to dial 200 to 300 dials a day to resolve these leads. You have to. The 10 applications. What does it mean for a brand new agent? Right? That's 10,000 in APV. That's $5,000 in deposits at least. Who doesn't want $5,000 in deposits by January 15th? You have this sitting in your business right now, and this is literally the best time to call them. Now, you have to be willing to wake up every morning and go to the gym, right? What do I mean by the gym is you have to dial 200 to 300 dials a day to resolve these leads because I'm asking y'all to triple dial them in the morning, triple dial them in the evening. And if you have more than 60 leads, and I'm almost sure everyone can say, yes, I do, right? Well, guess what? That's 300 dials if you add it up. Okay. You have to be willing to do that. If you have more than 60 leads, remember what we've taught y'all, right? Is you get 60 first and you blow those up for 3 days. You're going to resolve a whole bunch of those and then re-up right to 60 leads again, so that you can continue to do this massive action, right? If you don't have a dialer, make a move January, right? You may want to hop on a dialer so that you can put in this massive activity a lot faster. Also, and this is going to be on leads again that now you haven't gotten a hold of, right? We need them to pick up the phone and say yes or no, right? Y'all have to be willing to do those kind of dials. The next one is you also got to start a standing lead order, because we also need new leads to work on our business, right? Like show of hands, who has a standing lead order, right? So like if you can't raise your hand right now, you need to look at your business, right? This is January. We want you to be successful in 2024. You have to have there has to be consistent inventory coming in, right? So that you can be productive and write business. Get with your upline, please. These are the things that I want to teach y'all to in practices, right? Don't do anything by yourself. This is a team, right? Like don't go and start a standing lead order by yourself. Get with your upline so that, right, we can find the best lead SLO, right, standing lead order for you. But you got to start one. There has to be something in place, right? Because in the production part of this business, right, in January, you'll have to understand is you have to act like a business, right? So that means there has to be things in place so that you can consistently produce. Okay. The only way you can do that is if you have new inventory coming in, right? Because imagine if you go find your 10 apps by next Friday, and you have leads coming in and you write an extra 2 or 3, right? Now you're looking at, you can be knocking on the door of 15,000 in production within the next 10 days, right? But you got to be willing to go do these things. And here's the thing, all of us this year, right? Whose New Year, one of their New Year resolutions or thought process was this year, I'm going to get good at production, right? Like this year, I'm going to write my 15, 20K, right? Like that's on all of our minds, right? But we have to do things right now to get us there, right? So also, James, and me and you were going back and forth on I think stories are really good to help train y'all, right? Because these are hiccups and things that we have, mistakes that we have made, pretty much, right? That have taught us to grow our business faster, and what are the right ways, right? So I know by the end of last year, a lot of y'all also lowered your lead investment, right? Or cut them off, or things happen, right? You're going through oh my God, Thanksgiving is coming, Christmas is coming, right? Like maybe your leads, you cut them off, right? Or you lowered them. James, tell me a story on that, right? That you know of.
Just by personal experience, I mean, uh, I had stopped my lead order, cut it in half basically, because I had a before 20, and
And now that I say it was last December too, right?
I think I had stopped it before, and I cut it in half, and I thought like, well, I'll just pick up extra bonus leads or whatever. I'll still do it, you know. What ended up happening was just my production just went down instead. Um, and just don't do it. I mean, you gotta have the inventory coming in. I mean, the only thing that's holding you back is yourself. I mean, the only thing really excuse you have is you don't want to dial. I know because I've been there. I mean, we just gotta, hey, just suck it up, just do the dials, put in the work, be willing to coach. You know, this is a year. Hey, if you're not good at, closing, get good at closing. You know what I mean? Get help, ask for help, reach out until you ask for help. You know, what should I study? What should I, what are good training books? Until you get to that, till you're willing to reach out yourself, you're not going to change. And that was the changing point for me too. I mean, I had back against the wall, either I purchase more leads or hey, I need to go find another job. So I had to put in the work, willing to do it. I mean, I did literally what Jordan did. I'm gonna put Symmetry to the test. I need to find out if this is really for me or not. And when I did, and I was willing to put in the work, go 110%. I mean, you'll see the results. You'll thank yourself in 6 months, 3 months, whatever it takes you. And
And
everybody's different.
and I love it, right, James? Because it's your wall of production. All of y'all, if y'all can't consistently write 15,000 and issue 15,000, right, a month, you are in the wall of production, right? Like that is your wall right now. Everyone goes through it. Like all of us literally go through it. And here's the really cool part, right? Like James got to go through it. Top producer, right? Agency owner. That's what happens when you cross that wall and you make that decision, right? So for all of y'all, this is what excites me. For the ones that are willing to do whatever it takes for y'all to go through this wall of production, and then it just becomes so James, ain't it retarded of how easy it is to now produce at the level you do?
Yeah, it just becomes second nature. I mean, it becomes a habit. So right now it's just you're not used to it. You don't have a routine, just like anything. You working out, if you give up in those first 9 days, it's not gonna be, you're not gonna get used to it until you do it consistent, at least 30 days or more, until you starts becoming easier. You're becoming better, it just becomes second nature. You know what I mean? You're gonna run the appointments, run them the same every single time, but run them correctly. Pick up good habits, you
Yeah.
know, whatever
Don't do
you
a half
do.
squat, right? Like squat all the way down. Let yourself let that workout hurt, right? And I love what you said there, James, right? Like you got to be willing to give this a consistent, right? The cool part is with production, it's only 6 weeks. If you do it correctly, it really does only take 6 weeks to figure this out. And if you haven't figured it out and you've been here for more than that, realize then you just haven't done it correctly for 6 weeks, right? You haven't gotten it. Here's the cool part. When you go to the gym, they charge you for a personal trainer to make sure you just, right, you simply do the exercise correctly. That's what they're there for, right? Because we usually go to the gym, the ones that do, right? But you're just not doing it correctly, right? This is the massive action, constant correction. Your personal trainers are free here. You just have to be willing to ask for help, right? Which is the massive action, constant correction. Jordan, you unmute it.
Yeah. I was just thinking about, I go to the gym. That's been one of my biggest things that, I took on when I was 30. I made a promise to myself about my health. And especially as we go into this next chapter of our life, I want to be as healthy as I possibly can. And I know when I go to the gym, I see women doing incredible workouts. You know what I mean? They got huge legs, like tree trunks for legs. And I'm thinking like, God, I want legs that look like they could destroy watermelons. You know what I mean? Like that's things that I want, but I won't do the workout that they're doing because I'm afraid I'm going to get hurt. Right. So what can I do? I can go ask a coach for help. I can go ask a coach to help me start the movement that my body is not used to yet to get into that. And that's all this is, guys. That is all that this is. There are things that you're avoiding because you're afraid of messing up. There was a girl at the gym January 2nd with the EMTs in there pumping some fluids into her because she went too hard because she didn't get proper coaching. She pushed herself too hard. That's where we sometimes get to, right? Is that we get to this place where we've pushed ourselves or put ourselves in this position we're not used to, and the rejection and the things that we haven't prepared ourselves for through personal development or reaching out to our coach to take those 5 minutes to reassess ourselves. Like, what are we saying? How are we saying it? How should we be receiving this information? We haven't stopped to do that yet. So we don't really want to resuscitate you guys. we want to help you make adjustments so that you're just 1% better today than you were yesterday. That's really just focus on being 1% better than yesterday because you did something just a little bit more uncomfortable than you did yesterday. Like, what would you say, Joe, would help someone just be like that much better day over day?
And I love that, right? Because that's what's on here, right? So how do I get better? We know we're gonna dial, right? You have to be willing to go to the gym every day. That means you have to be willing to dial 200 dials a day. You have to, right? If you said I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna work out for 1 hour every single day, your 1 hour for us is I'm willing to dial 200 dials or book 6 appointments for tomorrow. Right? Because those are the two determining factors of I'm going to win in 6 weeks, no matter what. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes this year. And in January, I'm willing to go through that pain so that I can go out and crush it. right? And like Sam, I'll pick on you a little bit, right? And I do it with love, right? Me and her working on her production, and she's like, well, my dials are up. What are they up at? What is the number? She goes, well, they're 180, 150. I'm like, okay, we said we're going to go to the gym every single day in January. We said you need to dial 200 dials every day. Here's the cool part. If you're willing to dial 100, or you are right now, you can easily dial 200. Right? That's like saying if you're going to the gym and you're doing right your 1.5 miles, oh my God, you tell me you can't do your 2 miles? Yes, you can. Right? It's amazing of how that little 1 degree better will change your production. So if you're dialing right now, you have to be willing to hit your 200 dials. Now here's some really good tips of how to knock this out. And I'm going to give y'all some don'ts, because why don'ts are so important is because we've learned that it doesn't work out that way. Right, James, one of our biggest things was we started dialing. We wouldn't start dialing for the day because we were so busy in the morning, and we won't start dialing till like 1, 2, 3 in the afternoon. What I hated about that was we were usually dialing 130, 160 dials between that time. So if I had gotten my crap together and dialed from the morning, I could have guaranteed I was going to dial my 200 dials in the day. This is what we're asking you to do for your business. You have to be willing to get up early. You have to start dialing, right? Depending on your time zone and all that stuff, right? But you got to start dialing by like 9 a.m. to knock out 100 dials in the morning and 100 dials in the evening. You have to be willing to do this. This is our pain threshold. Everything you can tell yourself is an excuse. And I tell you all this from personal experience. Right? Because I probably on more conference calls than anyone else, more interviews, and talk to more agents. And if we can fit it into our 200 for the day, that means y'all can too. And I want that to be a beam of light that you can do this. Right? But you just have to be willing at 9 a.m., right? Get your schedules right? Obviously get on your calls that we need to be on, but you got to be ready to work at 9 a.m. Get your 100 dials in the morning, get your 100 dials in the evening, right? Or, right, if you get good leads, you just simply have to have 6 booked appointments. This is my challenge, right, for January. Can you have 6 booked appointments? I don't care what's going on today. Tomorrow, do you have 6 to 8 appointments every single day? Now, these appointments can be, right, I want to be super transparent with y'all. They can be reschedules from today. They can be, right, think about it from last week, whatever it may be. The point is we make money talking to people, right? We can only help somebody if we're speaking to a family and running a presentation. So for tomorrow, you have to be relentless. This is probably the number one thing I want y'all to write down. Tomorrow, do I have 6 appointments? Right? If you can get 8 or 10, great. Go out, perform, and write 20, 30K in a month. But you want to write 15 and issue 15 in a month, you have to have 6 appointments for tomorrow, no matter what. Now, here's the thing. If you start at 2 p.m., it's going to be hard to make sure no matter what, right? Because you're going to run out of time. Versus if you start early and you get your 2 or 3, it's so much easier to get your 6 for tomorrow. Give yourself that opportunity, right? Make sure you win today. You got to have 6 appointments. You got to fight. That means you either have to dial more, right? Because maybe it's not 200 for you. Maybe it's the 300 that I'm talking about, right? Or maybe it's you need to invest in more leads. January is going to hurt through January. I'm telling y'all. February, you can say, hey, this is not for me. I don't want to dial that much, or I'm not good at this. Give yourself 3 weeks to win here. Correctly, right? Massive action, constant correction. So Jordan, the first thing is those 6 appointments. You gotta have 6 appointments for tomorrow, no matter what. Now, the next thing is you gotta have a personal trainer, right? Because here, raise of hands, how many of y'all issue pay $15,000 a month? I love this, right? I want y'all to look at this, because if you didn't raise your hand, guess what you need? A personal trainer. Okay, guess where the personal trainers are? Right here in front of you. We are your uplines. We want to help you. Okay, so how do I have massive action and constant correction so that I can win here, right? Because here's the thing, you got to follow. Man, I fell in love with a speech that one of the Smiths, I don't want to say the wrong, I think both of them were on it when they did it. It was the having the key all the way in, right? Like a lot of us stick, we do it, we're doing this correctly, or we think we are, and we have the key about 3/4 of the way in, and we're like, I can't unlock this wall that I'm trying to go through. It's because you don't have the key all the way in. You're not doing it correctly. Doing it correctly is making sure you have 6 appointments every single day, and then that you have massive action, constant correction, right? We want to help you do this correctly. That means, right, there's 3 things you must do in production. The activity, right, which is make sure you have 6 appointments for tomorrow, right? $200, $300, whatever. Don't stop until you have 6 appointments. The next one is, do you have inventory coming in, right? This first week, it could be all of last year's leads, right? Or, leads that you haven't resolved that you need to call. And then the third one is you got to be coached. Okay. If you are personally, you got ego, right, James? Ego takes us. It will kill you, right? If you are not issuing 15,000 in production consistently every single month, you need help. We want to help you. We don't charge you, right? The gym charges you for the personal trainer. Okay, so how do I do massive action, constant correction? Where's the personal trainer? It's, you got to make a commitment that you're every week on this call until you can produce 15,000 a month and issue it, right? This is one of the main ones, so that you can ask, right? You be on this call present. Every single week, we cater this call on struggles for agents that are going through. Literally, that's what I ask. I ask our team, what are y'all struggling with, or what do we hear most this week? Like, how many of y'all have been on the call like, wait a minute, that's what I was working with Joe on. Yeah, that's how we designed this call for y'all, right? Then the next one is SoundCloud audios. You know what I love about SoundCloud audios? It's like, we're going to be doing all gym analogies today, right? If you want to do, hey, I want to work on my bicep, you can literally go into SoundCloud and say, I want to get a bigger bicep, right? So how do I look at it here at Symmetry? I'm trying to book more appointments, booking appointments. There's a SoundCloud audio for booking appointments. Hey, I'm not building enough emotion in my call. There's literally emotional labor, building emotion on the call, right? Like, hey, I'm not good at critical period. SoundCloud audio, right? Critical period. There's like a ton of this stuff, right? So you can literally have a personal trainer on the specific body part that you want to get stronger. And what does that mean here? Like, hey, I need to get better at critical period. I need to get better at dialing more. I need to get better at working bonus leads. I need to get better at critical period. There is literally every single training you can possibly think of. That was, James, something you hit on, right, on your production, that, right, how many hours did you invest, right, last year, daily, right, or weekly on that to get better, for you to start breaking 20, 30K a month?
I was listening to a different SoundCloud every day, and literally specifics, so mainly on production. So I wanted to get good at production. So, there's one on getting, think about it. There's literally something on everything. So, I mean, there's so many, just literally just type in Symmetry Financial Group and then put whatever you're looking for afterwards, it'll find it. And then from there, I was just being intentional of, when I was listening to it, I was getting 1 to 2 nuggets that I was going to apply on my, during my production for the next day. So for that, just make sure, I mean, I'll do it at the end of my workouts when I'm just running or walking. I would just listen to it. I would play it back like 3 or 4 times if I had to, until I wrote it, and I write it down, whatever the nuggets I pick up that I'm going to apply in my business tomorrow.
And then that's super important, right, James? Before you go on there, like, you're getting a personal trainer, right? But then what good is it if he tells you, or she tells you, right, and they're training you like, hey, you need to do the form. This is the form you have to do exactly like that. Then they teach you this, and then you don't go do it. You're not going to get better, right? This is January of a little bit of pain, right? You have to do what's uncomfortable. That means that James did really good at it. In fact, he did phenomenal on it. That's why he's writing 30K a month now, right? He listened to a SoundCloud audio. So it's not just listening, right? Because anyone who has bought 75 hard and not done it, right? Who has bought an exercise video, right, or whatever, and not done it? I have, right? All these apps that you can now get, right? Like, Rodney, you send us some stuff too on workout and and fasting and stuff, right? We get all this great information, but then we don't do it. And then it's like, man, I can't lose any weight, James. Like, this is horrible, right? It's us, right? Because if you do a lot of anything, you get good at it, right? So it's just making sure when you're on these SoundCloud audios, be super intentional. James was really good at this. I saw him always taking notes and then applying it on his appointments, right? So when you're on a SoundCloud audio, write down 3 things. Make it super simple. You just got to get a little bit better. Write down 3 things. Okay, on the audio, I heard they say this or they do this. And then those 3 things, you have to be intentional today, right? Because we're asking you to listen to a SoundCloud audio at least 1 a day, get 3 nuggets, and then go put it into your appointment. Again, I challenge y'all. You will get better, 1 degree better. 30 days, you'll be amazed of how much more you're closing, right? And when I say closing, that remember, you're helping a family, right? So you have to be willing to do that. The SoundCloud audio, James, anything else for plugging in? I know this call is a great one, right? All the SoundCloud audios, anything else that really helped you with production?
The videos.
Videos are good. Right, and when we say videos, we have recordings of us running appointments. Now, here's a scary one. I'm even afraid. Who has watched the videos of us running appointments? Okay, if you haven't, guess what? We have video recordings of us running a perfect appointment. Okay, you must watch these videos. James, remind me. We'll post them in band, right? The 2 videos we have, or I think we have 3, of us running an appointment from beginning to end. You don't have to guess at this. You have personal trainers. And here's the thing, James, did you watch it once and learn?
No.
Right?
I don't want to know how many times I watched it.
Hundreds. You have to watch it hundreds of times. Okay? Hundreds of times. This is a workout, right? You can't go to the gym. You can't go to the gym for 30 days and pick up your shirt and be like, man, where's my 6-pack? Right? It doesn't work that way. You got to allow yourself to get good, right? So you have to hundreds of times watch these videos, because every single time, James, right? Every single time, wasn't it different?
I remember, well, I would read it because Jordan was literally reading the script. So I would follow with the script, reading it out loud with myself too, to help me memorize it. And each time I would see how far I could get to just a little bit better, memorize a little bit more until I pretty much got, everywhere, the whole complete.
Right.
And to where, I could say pretty much almost verbatim. You know what I mean?
It's just, you got to give yourself that grace, right? Here's the thing again, January, we're all willing to do more than we normally do, right? So take advantage of that own mindset that you have right now, right? Of we're going to grind it out in January so we can go into the rest of the year crushing it. You got to give yourself that grace of SoundCloud audios, right? Being on these calls, those videos, right? And then here's the big one, your upline. Okay. How many of y'all know that if you're in an appointment and you feel you're not closing, you should call somebody in the appointment? Raise your hands. None of y'all know this, right? So there's the thing. If you're not doing this, Steve, how many times did I call you in an appointment?
First couple months, probably.
Mark, how many times did I call you in my appointments?
Dude, we had each other. There was 5 of us or so, you, me, Steve, Dominic, on a group chat. And I'd be in the home just calmly asking questions, not knowing anything about what to do, just sweating silently. And I'd just be texting Joe, hey, heart attack, sleep apnea, this or that. And we'd all just team up. And yet you heard on the national call, guys, find yourself a running buddy. Not someone that you want to struggle with, someone that you can, aspire to or ascend with, right?
Well, and here's the analogy to the gym, right? We all want to get stronger, right? If we're working out and we're getting stronger, that means we're putting more what? Weight, right? We're lifting heavier weights. What are you supposed to have when you're lifting weight that you can't carry?
A spotter.
A spotter.
And I'm good.
Ha, you must work out, right? So how many of y'all have called your spotter in an
Well,
appointment when you can't lift the weight?
And welcome to the Monday sales call. This is your host.
Who's this? Right? So who has called their spotter when they're lifting weight that they can't carry? If you're not doing that, how do you expect to get stronger? It's part of the process, right? You're supposed to take yourself to the limit to where your muscles can't lift what they lift so that they can learn to lift what they can't lift. It's the same thing for you in the appointment. You have to teach yourself to close and help more families, right? To the point that where you haven't done before. You have to give yourself that grace of calling the spotter, right?
Let me edify that for just a second. I'm so fired up right now, dude. I'm so fired up because Connie started at the very right in the middle towards the end of August, right? And between that time and the end of the year, she wrote 80 applications for over 80,000 in production, 25 grand of it in December. She's gone from 11 grand to 13 to 16 to 25, constantly getting larger. Also, what else happened? She went from herself to 2 writers to 4 writers to 7 writers in her agency during that period of time. Connie, how many times have you and I been on the phone, or how many times have you been on the phone with Bridget? We can go in a day or we can go in a week.
Well, if I don't talk to you guys in like 2 days and I'm calling you to check in, I don't know, probably I do talk to you at least every single day. And if I don't talk to you, I talk to Bridget.
Every day, every single day. You would think at this point she's mastered production. You would think she's probably also mastered recruiting. No, she still counsels all the time, all the freaking time. So I'm super pumped.
Information.
No, I'm telling you, I love January. I'm telling y'all, it's the make a move January, right? You got to make moves. Here's a final one, and I'm gonna give y'all some closing tips. And please unmute yourself if y'all have any questions. We can help y'all, right? But the next one is, are you tracking your numbers properly? Okay. You go to the gym, don't they have a list of how many squats you do, how many sets you do, how many you're doing, and how much you're lifting? Very specific, right? Because right now you can squat, right, 100 pounds and you did 4 sets of 10, right? So you did 40 reps, and the whole goal is to put, right, more weight. Let's get to 120, right? And let's get to 15%, and let's get to 6 sets. Let's make you stronger, right? You have to track your numbers. Why is it so important? Because we don't know if you did better last week or yesterday or today from yesterday if you don't have that number in front of you, right? So you have to, as of today, if you haven't, very, very specific. Did I dial 86 dials? Did I talk to 22 people? And did I book 2 appointments? Did I resolve blank amount of leads? Did I invest $156, right? Or $566 in leads? Did I get 30 B1s, right? 2 CI leads, 10 A leads? Like, it has to be super, super specific. And then that way, every week for 6 weeks, your spotter, your personal trainer can help you get better. Okay. The most important about that number is it gives you a number to beat today. Right? Because if yesterday, Nathan, you got to 189 dials, can you get to 190 today? Right? Can you get to 200 today? Can I get to 210? I only booked 4 appointments yesterday. Can you get the 5th one today? Right? Can you book 5 for tomorrow? Can you book 6 for tomorrow? Some people want bigger muscles. Can I get 8 for tomorrow? Can I get 10 for tomorrow? But these are things you have to be willing to do these next 6 weeks and track it properly, and massive action, constant correction. Nobody does this by themselves. Nobody. Everyone has a personal trainer. You have tons of them here that want you to win. Right? Y'all have to be willing to go through these actions. Now, here's the cool part again. I'm excited about January. Most of us are willing to do all this stuff in January right now. Take advantage of it, right? Fall into that system of, hey, it's January. I'm willing to do this because I want to make sure 2024 goes great. Right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. I'm gonna go over them again because I want y'all to remember these 5 things. These are the 5 actionable things that you can be doing every single day for the next 6 weeks to win. The first one is activity. Are you willing to dial 200 to 300 dials every single day? Whatever it takes to have your 6 appointments, you must do that. There is not, I wish there was a break code, but there's not. Here's the thing. I used to have a thing of dial 1,000 dials this week, and your future self will thank you. I challenge y'all. These are huge ways to win here. Okay. The next one is, do I have 6 booked appointments for tomorrow? If not, you need to dial more. There is no way around it. And start early. Start early. Oh my God, I can't say that enough because I have fallen into that trap so many times. I'm like, I got interviews and I have all these calls and blah, blah, blah. And next thing you know, I'm like, man, I only booked 4. And I booked them in like 2 hours. So it just kills me even more because I know if I had started earlier, I would have my 6, Jordan. Right? Like that was just me being lazy earlier in the day. Right? You got to put this in front. These are the number 1 things that should be in front of your business. Right? Start early is the next one, and do whatever it takes to hit your numbers. Right? So this third one should lock in 1 and 2. Because you have to start early and do whatever it takes. That means do whatever dials it takes to get your 6 appointments or get to your 200 to 300 dials for the day. Right? You're the only one watching yourself. You have to be willing to do that. The next one is you got to plug in. You have to train yourself, right? You got to look at the system to learn it and get better. What is plugging in, right? This is a great call for production. Right, this one, make sure you don't miss a single one of these, the whole thing, take notes, right, go into it intentionally, right, and then the next one is SoundCloud, or this is all still the same one, right, SoundCloud audios, right, massive action, constant correction with your upline, right, what audio should I be listening to? Have you watched the videos 100 times? Right? You got to listen to all of them over and over and over. Watch the videos of Jordan and I running appointments, Elijah running an appointments. Literally one of the best producers in Symmetry. Y'all have a personal video of him teaching you how to run an appointment. And then like James said, right? Write 3 things down and then apply it to your appointment. You got to add it to your routine. Okay? The next one on that one, that is probably the biggest thing for the year is, are you going to conference? Right? Like we talk about training, the best training that you're going to have is at conference. You get to be around all the producers and you have to go into conference intentionally, right? We're going to get into that later in the weeks, but when you're going to conference, right, do you have a list of the top producers, right? Jordan, James, right? Steven Tickle, Nathan, right? Do you have questions for them? Hey, what do you do this? You know, like you have to intentionally want to get better and around these people. Right? Like part of 15,000 plus a month issue paid is you got to go to conference. If you're not going, I'm telling you right now, you're probably not going to make it here and you won't produce at the level that you want to. There is literally 0 producers producing over 15,000 that have not gone to conference. 0. So unless you think you're the one and only out of Symmetry in 14 years, you must go to conference so that you can get properly trained. The last one is you got to call your spotter. Okay? When you talk to your spotter, it's before and after every single appointment. So if you're running an appointment today, have you reached up to your upline and said, hey, this is what I'm going to present. This is their health conditions. What do you think? If you're not closing it inside the home, right, or on the call, did you reach out? Did you get, hey, spotter, come spot me. I can't lift this right now. I need help closing it. And then after your appointment, what went wrong? What do you think you could have done better? Did you talk to them? So this is probably one of the biggest things of the constant correction. If you ran an appointment, every single time you run an appointment, unless you issue 15K, I don't understand why you don't call before your appointment, in the middle of your appointment, and after your appointment. That's the only way you're going to get better. James, Jordan, I mean, that's
I want
a
to
ton of
touch.
stuff, right, that you can do to get better.
I just want to touch on reaching up to your upline. I mean, that was just the big changer. I had to get my ego out of the way just because I wanted to do it on my own. I'm like, I don't need no help. And so I asked for help and see, what am I doing wrong? Because wherever you're at today, doing it on your own got you to where you're at. If you're not willing to change and ask for help, you're not going to change. I don't care what you do different, what reach up to your upline. They're going to see, they're the ones looking at your form and seeing what you're doing wrong to correct it, and tracking your number. Until I did that, I did not change. And my brother told me, hey, you got to do this too. Where I got the SoundClouds, hey, you need to train every day, at least for an hour. Okay, I'm going to train an hour for, on SoundCloud every day. Listen to it. Get with your mentor. I want to be where my brother's at. So what am I going to do? I'm following whatever he's doing. Your upline wants you to be better. They're there for you. Take advantage of it, use them, make them work for their, when you write your applications, I mean, put them to work. What's the worst you're going to do? You're better off where you're at right now. I guess what I got to tell you. If you're struggling, just be willing to go all in. I mean, everybody's here willing to help you. I mean, I can consult. Nathan still consults everybody in the appointment. And next thing you know, hey, I wrote him. And maybe something about it too. Just be like, hey, let me check with my upline, to make sure, I'm a manager, make sure you got the best options. He sure enough in the appointment calls every single day. I already know. And he calls late now. He's
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
and I help him if my brother's not available. And sure enough, next thing I know, he's writing applications. But he's somebody I've seen, like, he does it. Just be with your mentor. I mean, I think that's huge right there.
I love it, right? January is a month of moves, right? Make some moves this month. How do I know I'm making moves and how do I know I'm winning? You shouldn't be doing the same thing you were doing in November or December, right? It has to be something different and it has to be more, right? You have to move more, right? Like you have to talk to more people, invest in more leads. It's very simple, right? It hurts, right? It hurts to invest more and it hurts to put in more activity, but use the momentum of January, right? All of us are willing to start going to the gym, right? Start doing all these new things and new activities. Do it to your business, right? Be willing to be super uncomfortable in January. You will be amazed of the results you can have. And we are here to help y'all, right? Like, please, right? Reach out to your uplines, reach out to us in your appointments, before your appointments, and after your appointments. So you should be talking to someone if you're not issuing 15,000 in production, right? Like nothing would warm my heart than seeing so many more producers produce 15,000. Do y'all understand what that means? It's $8,000 to $10,000 in deposits. That's what that means. I want that for you. We all want that for you, right? You just got to be willing to do the work, right? And we're here to spot you. We're literally a text message or a phone call away to help spot and make sure you lift and get the goals that you want. So just apply that to your business. You'll be amazed at what actually happens. So anyone have anything before we get off?
Get your conference tickets, y'all. Don't
Yep.
do that. Don't do that thing where you say, hey, when I write this, I'll do that, guys. I'm
Wow.
just letting you know ahead of time that when you get your conference ticket, you will write business, right?
Yep.
That's just how it is. You get your conference ticket. Now that barrier that's in the way of you seeing yourself see this business through is done. It's out of the way.
You know what, Jordan? You say that, and Brooke got her conference ticket and airline tickets, and I think she wrote like $3,600 in a day, or had her best day ever like 2 days after.
All of a sudden, when
We don't make this stuff up.
yeah, you think to yourself, well, I don't have $700 to afford a hotel and a flight and a ticket when I split this room with someone. You put yourself in the corner, put yourself in the position where you need to make $700 because it's reserved.
Right, Brooke, what are you at now? 4,600 now for this is your best week ever, 6 apps?
Can I add to that? I was this close to stopping my standing lead order before Christmas because, like Joe said earlier, I got that scaredness and I was like, Christmas is coming up. I want to buy gifts. And I was like, no, I'm going to listen to Joe. I'm not going to stop my standing lead order. This is my business. This is my patties. I'm not going to stop my patties. And then boom, a note right after Christmas, have a fire day. And it's like, That's because my standing lead order, that's because I stayed consistent, and that's because I believe in it. I'm going to conference, I'm putting that energy out there, and it's like the law of attraction right there. Like the universe sees that and it's cosmic. It's like, you're serious, you're in. Let's have a fire day. So I'm fired up. I
Love it.
definitely I've got to dial more today.
So it's January. Go make a move. That means today, start a standing lead order. Get with your upline. Call. What appointments do you have, right? Those 6 things I gave y'all, start practicing them today, please. We are here to help you. You absolutely can go out there and crush it and have more than 15,000 in production. We're here to help you for that, right? Just start applying those things, right? Call your spotter in your appointments, start your standing lead orders, get your conference ticket, right? It's amazing how when you do, all of a sudden you start producing because you're doing the right things to help you win. So thank y'all for hopping on, and I'll post this in band.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you guys. Thanks, James, Jordan.